It is the next day. Well, actually, since I finished at 2 a.m., it is the same day. Yesterday, I was excited and nervous. Today, I'm mostly nervous. This is scary times. So what we have here is HP Tuner's editor. These are the parameters for my engine. This tune was downloaded off the computer from the car, and this is the injector data. Now I should be able to just overwrite this data with GT500 data. Cool thing about HP tuners is that they have a tune repository where you can download the tunes that other people have uploaded. So this guy, Eric Brooks, has a 2011 GT500, and he has stock tune. I mean, he uploaded the stock tune, and that's what I've downloaded. So this stock tune would have all the same parameters that'll be used here, except those parameters will be for the GT500, and those will have the proper injector data. And today I've also ordered a subscription to Evans Performance Tuners Academy, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I liking it. And so far, according to Evans, I watched the injector video, he's saying that if you just upsize the injectors, but you put in all the proper parameters, and your car and you do nothing else, your car should drive stock as it was before. So just utilize proper bigger injectors as it would utilize stock injectors. So that's where I'm at. This is my stock tune, and now there's a pop function here. I can compare files, so I can add another tune into the mix, and that would be the GT500 tune. So 2014, that will be the MU52 injectors. That's not the one I got. I got the injectors that are up to 2013, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, 2011 will have the injectors that I need. Yeah, and this shows me the parameters that have been modified. So these are, oh no, these are my parameters, and these are parameters of GT500. Yeah, so let me just copy them over here, and then I will try to flash this to my car. So I opened the second instance of editor just because it's easier to copy and paste. And so in here I have a comparison screen where I can see the numbers that are different from the GT500. And in here I just have a GT500 tune. So once I hit this number, there should be 0 differences from these places. So yeah, it shows 0 differences here, there are 0 differences here, and 0 differences there. So basically matching that tune. So I believe that's all the injector parameters that I need to do in here. Not really sure what those things are. Maybe I'll learn something about it later. But for now, I guess I should save the tune and go upload it to the car. Well, time to get out there and tune the car. Alright, so I believe I need to turn the key on, ignition off. Then write to vehicle, right calibration. Okay, the fastest method is to be disabled. Okay. Alright, tune got uploaded. Now before I start the car, I wanna get the data logger going. Scary times. Well, at least it's gonna be on video. Oh, that is awesome. the car is actually running. Also, I did not change open loop to closed loop configuration, so it is going to be in a closed loop. So even if my tune is off, ECU will adjust according to what it sees on the wideband. So it should be relatively safe to drive, even if the inject data is not perfectly good. So there is not much of a correction happening for the short-term fuel trim or the long-term fuel trim. So I think it's like it's doing its thing. The idle, I don't know, feels a little bit rougher than before, but maybe I'm just being paranoid. Also, the injectors there's some kind of sound. Sounds like a ticking sound. I don't know if that's injector sound, but that's a lot louder than before. Okay, so the short-term fuel trim on both doing something. I'm not sure if this is normal. Good thing I did some baseline data logging before I did all this, so I can compare. The noise from the engine is definitely not the same as before. It's way more tickier, and it does sound like it's coming from the injector area, not from valve trains. So I have some pre-recorded data logs here with just a stock build, just driving to work. And this is the just sitting idling somewhere for a prolonged period of time. And I can see that my short-term fuel trim was, yeah, maybe like about 2%. So maybe it's normal. Maybe I was just paranoid over nothing. In about a few hours, I'm gonna have to drive this car for real. Hopefully nothing goes too dramatic. I did drive the car. It was okay. Nothing too unusual. I haven't data logged it. I saw some really high fuel trims at idle. At idle was like plus 13 degrees or something like that. And I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was, other than that, trims were not too bad. But I was still really worried that maybe I inputted the data incorrectly, especially because ChatGPT was arguing with me and telling me I'm doing it wrong. I've got all other AIs involved. Too bad I had to be the middleman in between them. I wish they could just all be like in one room and just all get a consensus on this together instead of me relaying the messages from one AI to another. But anyway, I think I got it all figured out. With the help of Evan's Performance Academy, I learned the method how I could possibly tune the injectors, and that's what I'm going to do now. I also learned that I should tune my oxygen sensor transport delay, but I'm not sure if I can do that on a V6 Mustang, so I'm gonna try to do that as well. So I have some more confidence in what I'm doing right now, and also what gives me more confidence in continuing on is that this method of tuning the injector does not require me to go into the open loop. Open loop is scary because if my tune is bad, then it's not gonna correct itself and it's just gonna keep running bad. Like best case scenario, I'll have a lot of gasoline in my oil. Worst case scenario, I'll run lean, burn through a piston or something. So let's get in the car and see if I can start data logging some of this and tuning. Trying to figure out how to rig this up so I can record it. Maybe this will work. For now, let's start the flash of the tune. Right calibration. Okay. So while it's writing, I guess I'll explain to you the argument I had ChatGPT. So I've used injectors from GT500. 2012 GT500 has bigger size injectors, but it's running under different fuel pressure. It's running under low pressure. Running at the higher pressure, the injectors flow more. So GT500 is running at about 40 psi. V6 is running at about like 55 psi. There is such thing as a base flow rate. You see that flow rate right there? It says high flow rate, low flow rate, high. So that's like a base flow rate. Then there is such thing as a scaling factor. It scales with pressure. There's offset multiplier versus pressure. Yeah, so there's 4 things that scale with pressure, and ChatGPT was telling me your car does not have a fuel pressure sensor. Therefore, those scaling tables are not used, and your PCM will run off the base flow rate. The base flow rate for GT500 is at a different fuel pressure. Therefore, I need to compensate and adjust the base flow rate. I was like, well, no, I think my car knows at what fuel pressure it runs, so it should apply the table even though it doesn't have a sensor. I think it should know the pressure. It should apply the table at one value or interpolate the value between the two and just stay at that value. And that's what was argument going back and forth. And yeah, I think the right answer is that yes, the car actually does know what the fuel pressure is. It actually has such thing as inferred fuel pressure. There. Yes, inferred fuel pressure. So somehow it will actually, I don't know if it knows flow rate. That's another thing. Maybe it's calculating flow rate based on injectors pulse width, and then if it knows the flow rate, then it will know the inferred fuel pressure at the different flow rates. So yeah, I think that's a consensus is the car knows what the fuel pressure is. It will apply the table. It will not move around the table probably if it doesn't know how the fuel pressure changes. Anyway, the tune is done. For now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be logging the data for the injectors to see if the injectors are, getting too much of a correction there. If they're getting too much of a correction, I have a different data for the injectors I could use. I'm going to try a different set of data. and then you'll pick the one that works best. All right, I think I got some good login data. So what I want these numbers to be, I want these numbers, I guess, to average out to 0. And I think they're not bad. I think this one is going to be like a little bit negative, and this one is also a little bit negative, but yeah, they're really close to averaging out 0. So I'm not sure if there's going to be any adjustment. So I do have two different parameters for the injectors that I have. So one of the parameters are from the data sheet for the injectors. The other parameters is from the copied over the stock tune data for GT500. So I would have thought that GT500 stock tune would have the stock injectors parameters, but maybe they don't. Maybe they have like more conservative parameters. And the flow rate, high and low, that's not a big deal. Those things can be tuned. The breakpoint is the one that is like, you can't really tune. I mean, you can't really like back calculate. You can't really figure it out any other way, I think. You can just probably tell something's wrong, but I don't know if there's a way to actually find out if the breakpoint is the correct value. And there are two different breakpoints for the stock GT500 tune and for the injector parameters that are supposed to be stock in GT500. So not sure if I'm gonna try out to load the new tune in the Costco parking lot on my way home. But maybe we'll do. Let me just go buy some eggs and we'll decide later. Well, hope this will not mess up my car as I'm parked in a no parking zone. So what I'm gonna do is edit template applicator. Let's go to templates, and then this is the injectors. Yeah, so that's the parameters for the injectors that should be in the GT500, but somehow these parameters were not in a stock tune for the GT500. So let's apply this and see what happens. Key on, engine off, and is my battery okay? Yep, laptop still okay. Not sure what would happen if you start flashing tune and then your laptop died. I think it might mess things up. And the car is running. I know it's not possible to hear it, but it is running. And I'm gonna drive home and data log this and see if this data is better than other tune data. The data looks really bad. The corrections are pretty high. They're like, average them out to be like -10 at the high slope. I think low slope is not so bad. Yeah, no, actually, never mind. Low slope, the corrections are really high. But anyway, I think this is also a good opportunity for my engine to warm up, to make sure that we're all up to temp. As I drive back, I might park and flash my car again. It should not be like this. This is really big corrections on a low slope. Well, I don't know if there's much on a high slope, as I didn't really high it much. And I think I know why. I wasn't really applying it properly. Anyway, look at this number, 0.01433, and that's not what I should have. What I should have is templation applicator. Yeah, G02. That's what I want. And that's the slope that I need to have. Let's do this again. Yeah, so those values have been updated again. That's why they are red. And let's just flash this thing again. Success! We're logging again. That's with a new and proper, hopefully injector. Oh yeah, look at that, populating 000. That's what I want to see. Sweet. Engine temps are good. And we're good for more data logging on the way home before my eggs go bad. I have arrived home and I've got some good data logs for the injectors. Now, what would you guess? Which data is more correct, or which data has less corrections? The data that I copied from GT500 tune, or the data that I copied from the data sheet for the injectors? The answer is this data is GT500 tune, and it looks really good. it actually looks better than the datasheet. So there's like the corrections are very small. If I open the other tune, the datasheet tune, yeah, the corrections are quite a bit higher. This isn't a fluke. I've filtered the data to like have 40 hits, so each point has been recorded at least 40 times and came out to the same value. So it's not like it somehow missed some value and this is where it's recorded. Each value has been recorded 40 times over, so it is pretty good certainty that that's where the correction is at. I don't know, this video might be already really long. I'm still learning to tune. Maybe in the next video I do wanna go maybe into more detail about what I'm actually doing so people can follow along. This is good progress. I got the injectors installed and now I have good way to check if my injectors are working properly and if my data is correct, and got good feedback. So yeah, good learning progress and good progress on the vehicle. In the next video, well, not sure when in the next video. Still have a lot to learn. We'll see. I'm gonna do a lot of studying on Evans Performance Academy and see what I learn. And yeah, maybe next video is gonna be actually fully plumbed in intercooler and tuning from there.